Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? It is day 27 of RPG a Day 2017. It's August 27th, and our question today is, what are your essential tools for good gaming? It's right here on this little infographic. And look, I got Commandy, Last Boy on Earth. I used to love that. I'm old enough to have read that comic. Wish I still had them. I'm sure they're long in the garbage or whatever, but too bad because great DC comic. Not a big DC guy, but Commandy, for crying out loud. All right, so let's talk about these tools for essential gaming, or what do we call it? The essential good. Yeah, what are your essential tools for good gaming? Good gaming and essential. So this is a question that was very interesting to me for a few reasons. The first one was that, like, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, I would have answered it very flippantly and said, well, what do you need? You need some pens and some dice and some paper and your imagination. Are you crazy? Let's go. I like to think in my old age, I've become a little bit wiser and have learned more about other people and myself and about how broad the scope of the hobby is in terms of preferences and all that kind of good junk. So I like to think that I know a little bit more now. The other thing that makes it kind of fun for me is generally what's happened during this RPG a Day thing is, Anthony Runeslinger is 13 hours ahead of me right now, daylight savings time. Normally he'd be 14 hours ahead of me. So he posts his video sometime around like noon my time. And so every day, depending on what the subject is, sometimes I wonder what he's going to say. I wonder if I can guess what his answer is going to be. There are a few other people I'm definitely guessing what their answers are going to be, but we're usually releasing our videos around the same time. Sometimes I think I know. Sometimes I think I bet you we're going to have a lot of overlap. Sometimes I'm surprised. So this is one of those days that I already had a whole bunch of answers down. I wasn't afraid of being poisoned by watching his video. But I just kind of mentioned to him, I got like 20, 30 things down already. I had 20 before I started driving my youngest daughter back up to college, and probably had about another 10 or 15. So about 35 things I wrote down. I watched his video, and it's very elegant because he has this trifecta of things and whatnot. So mine is not going to be as elegant, but we have a tremendous amount of overlap. I'm probably just going to mention a lot more things than he did, and do it in a lot less elegant manner because, oh well, it's just me. But you're watching the video, so there must be something wrong with you. I must be cool. Anyhow. Let's go over the things that are just kind of like ridiculous, but I wrote down just really flippantly: dice, paper, pens, books. Are you kidding me? Maybe you need miniatures. I'm not a miniatures guy, but maybe this would be a really cool miniature using a role-playing game. Look at that little guy. It'd be something cool, but I wouldn't call it essential. But obviously I have to have something. The other thing I just kind of jotted down really flippantly, and this is not essential, but support from the game publisher or the designer or the community is great. Not essential. I think the dice are essential if you're playing a dice game. Absence of distractions. Every once in a while you get the kids on Hangouts. Some people have cute kids. Francois Letard, as his daughter comes on, it's cute for a second, but she's not there the whole time. But cell phones, absence of distractions. And also like maturity, responsibility, behaving like an adult. That's an essential. And this is just like house clean. These things I'm just going to not talk about very much. And then I kind of jotted down, well, it boils down a lot of it to the right people, the right attitude, and the right game. That's too global, but that's a big one for me. So then I just started jotting down a whole bunch of things. To be honest with you, most of the things that I put down as essential tools for good gaming, they're behaviors, they're people. It has nothing to do with the books or the rules or anything else. So I jotted down a bunch. I'm not going to talk a ton about each thing, I don't think, but like just having a good attitude. That's really essential to having a good game experience. Being open-minded, having flexibility. That's really essential because a lot of times the willingness to try new things, that's really key to having a good game experience. To be willing to like explore outside the box in a lot of different ways. A lot of communication with each other is very essential. Things like creativity, just really, really crucial. Humor, having a sense of humor, really good because gaming is funny, and while there can be very serious moments. And we can be very tactical occasionally, or just having some really disturbing moments. Whether they're planned to be disturbing because I really like disturbing stuff, or whether it's just like, oh man, that really kind of hit me. Having a sense of humor, really, really big. Sense of humor, like my computer just did that right now. Why would I do it right now? Courage. Being willing to explore things that might make you a little bit uncomfortable. And of course, there are lines we have to draw on. Sometimes we have to put veils on things. Great terms I learned from reading Circle of Hands. But it's just having a sense of courage to be, the willingness to explore some things that may make you a little bit comfortable. To me, that makes for really good gaming. Also having trust and being trustworthy, having trustworthiness. That to me, when we're not trusting each other, when there's a conflict in some way, that I'm really not trusting this person, to be fair or to be respectful of, whatever issues I have, that's an impediment. So that's really cool. Just commitment to the game, commitment to the other people, commitment to yourself. Really, really crucial. Also just kind of jot down like friendship. Like hopefully you become friends with the people you're gaming with. Originally, you just don't know each other at all, and you have this kind of learning process. You're getting to know you, and then hopefully, if you're lucky, the group that you get involved with, you guys or people all gel, become friends. To me, that's really I don't know if it's essential for good gaming, but it makes it a hell of a lot nicer. So just becoming friends. Having a willingness to collaborate with each other, not just as a game master and players collaborating, or the players collaborating together, but just I'm just willing to not just be you telling your story, so to speak, but just being able to function together as a group. Having a spirit of exploration, just having a curiosity and a willingness to explore, the game world, your character, the interactions with the other characters, pushing the boundaries of what's comfortable for you, feeling willing to explore like new game styles, new situations, etc. And finding out what you like, but just always kind of like what's around this next corner. That to me makes for a really good game experience, and it can be essential. Now we're getting down to like some more meat and potato stuff, but that's important. Like, and here, like I talked about already about communication, but being on the same page in terms of preferences and expectations, and/or reaching clearly understood and agreed compromises. And I'm undergoing this right now. I'm starting the search for some local gamers that are kind of on the same page. Not a whole bunch, just a few. But just finding people that are on the same page in terms of all these preferences, expectations, intentions for gaming. And you're never going to be 100% there. But at that point, having these clearly understood compromises and you agree to them, that's really, really essential. So there's not that tension where everybody's looking for something different. I just had a discussion down the street at the friendly local game store with a guy that was talking about more about the philosophy of how the game master should be able to recognize in all his players what this one needs, what that one needs, what the other person needs, and then kind of give it all to him. I understand the concept, but I'm not interested in playing in a group like that anymore, where the expectations or the desires of the people there are so wildly different that you're constantly spinning plates. Either as a player, or as a game master. Got to be a little bit closer together. So that to me is an essential tool or essential situation or scenario for good gaming. Preparation, pretty essential. Preparation from the game master and preparation from the players. Just show up prepared. Doesn't have to be super prepared, but know what you're doing at that point. Here's one I just kind of thought of that which kind of dovetails into the next category, is a willingness to ask for help and to accept help, and a willingness to help, because we're not all going to know everything. Whether it's about the system itself or like what should I do in this situation, or have you ever faced something like this, or I'm kind of having a mental block or a writer's block or a creative block, or just really not sure what to do here. Or, just that willingness to be brave enough to ask for help, to accept the help when it's offered, if it's not being pushed down your throat. A willingness to accept help, and a willingness to actually help other people. That's pretty essential, and that goes down to this building this cohesive group. Where there's that trust, where the barriers between you kind of vanish, or you become a lot smaller. Now let's get on to the rules. To me, part of what was essential for good gaming, the rules, the system, other in-game resources and guidelines, they're just clear and easy to understand. Doesn't mean that it can't be complex, but just it's clear and easy to understand. It's not completely opaque. That to me is very essential. Also, following on with that, a reasonable understanding of the system and the probabilities, like how am I going to translate my intentions into results on the part of the game master and all the players. Like, how does this system really work? That's pretty essential, because if you're going in with one intention and then the mechanics and the system provide you with something else, that's not going to be fun. So understanding how this sucker really works is really important. Also, the willingness to learn while doing on the part of all the players. We're not really sure how this works, or already, this game or whatever it is. Let's learn. Let's make some mistakes. Let's stop and open the book. That's really essential, as opposed to just kind of like, I'm getting frustrated, I'm not going to do this. Likewise, the flip side of that, but it's also really important, is the willingness to make pragmatic resolutions during the game. If you have this impasse where it's like just important, like we don't want to spend all day looking up the answer, we're not really sure what to do here. Figure out what's the most reasonable at that point. Being willing to do that, and then being willing to then research the rules and or come up with some kind of long-term solution afterwards. That's pretty essential. And of course, this all ends up with eventual system mastery. When you get that point where everybody knows how the game works, where you're able to comfortably adjudicate when things are a little bit wonky here and there, because no game is going to cover everything. But when you all pretty much have a reasonable sense of mastery over how does this sucker work, we know what's going to happen when we do this, we know what kind of results it's going to produce. We're all prepared in that way too. That's really, really essential to have a good game experience. When you're talking long term, and I'm always thinking long term. And then, finally, it's like involvement, like engagement during the game for sure. That's essential. After the game, we're talking about like what happened. How do we like this? And engagement before the game. And that's kind of like dovetails into like this other thing I was thinking. I had to sit there. I made this big giant scattershot list and I had to bring related topics together. Good notes and note taking on the part of everybody, to me, is really essential for a good experience. And then collaborative note taking, where that has really collaborative note taking and recaps, where maybe we've all kind of given our own recap, or we've all given our own, like we've compared our notes, like what did this look like, or what do you think that was? To me, that like brings any game up to the next level. I had experienced that in the Lamentations of the Flame Princess game I played in years ago, and it wasn't something where we said, hey, let's do some collaborative note taking. It just started happening. One of the guys was doing a recap online through email, and we were all kind of adding our 2 cents in there, and we came away with a much broader understanding of what was going on in the game, what was going on with each individual character. The game was still being played in between sessions. It was awesome, and I've had that happen in the All for One game I'm involved in, where we're making these these recap videos where we've got like a OneNote document we've added stuff to. We've talked about the game, in between sessions. That has made it a much better experience, and I've had that happen in miniature. In some of the little one-shots, we did Hex one-shots with Jason, a couple, and Big Mike and whatnot. That's been really cool too, just to talk about the stuff afterward, before and afterwards. That makes a much better experience. It's an essential tool for good gaming. So yeah, that's my rather long list. My video is slightly longer than Anthony, so I can't bust his chops about how long his was. Yeah, those are my essential tools for good gaming as of right now. What are yours?